Okay, so what is so unique and different about the Create New Futures philosophy and modality? This is a question that I'm often asked in many situations. I've been doing this work and developed this modality over the last 3 decades. And people wonder, why is it so different from the generic historic way of developing strategy? Well, I just finished a session with a Silicon Valley leadership team that was about a preparation for an event I'll be leading them through next week. And here is how I described it to them, which made me think, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's capture this live so we can share it with everybody else. Well, so in this situation, you have a leadership team that's leading a major transformation. They've transformed very much what they are doing, rewired the organization, and now they're seeing an extraordinary opportunity ahead of them. And they asked me to help them design that approach, create the future of the organization. Well, so the two design principles of the Create New Futures modality is first that we work from the future backwards, and that we then create successive horizons that enable us to develop and bring this future to life. Why this is so critical? Because if we look to accelerate the future that we hope to create, and we move swiftly into the near term without developing a shared picture of the future of what success look like in the 2 or 3 year horizons. Some industries, some sectors, horizon 3, given the function, the team, the business, horizon 3 will sometime be 5 or 7 or even 10 years out. In many businesses in this day and age, horizon 3 may be just 3 or 4 years out in the future. When we describe what success look like in that future, we are then able to translate that to describe what will horizon 2, the 2 year or the 18 months or the 12 months milestone, what would that look like, such that we are indeed heading to the actualization of the future that we are creating. And that then enables us to truly execute in the near term with that shared picture of the future. If we accelerate in the near term without having developed that shared vision, that shared picture of the future, we are more likely to diverge and actually create cross-purpose work rather than be truly aligned to the future we're endeavoring to create. So that's principle 1. Work from the future backward and design and develop and articulate successive horizons of the future such that there is a continual learning and validation loop from the near term to the midterm and the long term, and backward from the future we are designing, and how what we do today directly lines up to that future. And we discover that sometime that journey is actually a non-linear journey. We choose to bypass some of the challenges of today to accelerate the future state. So that's principle 1, design principle 1. The second pillar, the second principle of the Create New Futures philosophy is that we have to integrate in the process what I call the foreground, the what conversations in the foreground, with the how and who are we becoming conversations in the background. So the foreground conversations are the conversations about what will the future look like when we are successful in having changed the business and having actualized our vision. What will it look like? What will be the new results that we will be creating? What will the strategies that will enable us to create those outcomes be? All these are the foreground conversations. These are the typical conversations we engage in business circumstances. But what we have developed and discovered over the last 3 decades is that you actually need to integrate these conversations together with the background conversations, which is to say, when we transform the business in the way we envision, how must we transform ourselves as a leadership team? How will we be different? How will we collaborate internally different? How will we engage our stakeholders differently? What will the culture that will enable us to create those behaviors and outcomes look like? What will the new capacities and capabilities that we will bring online be? All those conversations. And so a create new futures experience that we lead often alternates concurrently those, I call it the alternating current of the create new futures approach and philosophy, because we need to alternate these conversations such that we concurrently engage these different parts of our brains and we unearth the discovery and the insights that these lead us when we explore and inquire about the future and about what enables us to create this future and about how we are therefore different inside this future. Because just for example, what we now know about adult learning and adult transformation is it doesn't just happen like that. What we are truly describing when we are creating the future of the organization, we are describing and literally creating the new operating system of the organization. And when your smart device or your personal computer downloads a new operating system, what is the process? It downloads the new software and then it reboots to enable the system to be integrated. Well, guess what? We humans, we are in a way a lot more sophisticated and nuanced than our smart devices. We're also more complex. We tend to need to have that reboot system through repeating and reiterating and re-articulating the journey. And we need, for example, to enter a space where there is just the right equilibrium of being challenged, so we are alert and innovated to be at the edge of ourselves, and that we are also in that space practicing trust and open collaboration and vulnerability, and that we are able to regulate our nervous system, because these are critical conditions in terms of the biochemistry of our brains and the neurotransmitters that enable us to truly engage the new circuitries with which we assimilate new behavior, the new behavior that we expect will deliver new outcomes. So this way of rewiring ourselves by way of describing the new exterior way of working, the new outcomes we will create, and the new interior in each person and for the team at large of the way we operate, this is the second principle, the second pillar of the create new futures approach. So number one, integrating the work from the future backward by assimilating and describing those successive horizons. Number two, integrating the foreground conversations about what will be different in that future with the background conversations of who will we be differentially in that future, and how will we unlock the potential collectively, individually and collectively, the potential to realize that future. That's the mystery, the secret, the source, the profound unlock power, and why I've worked with some of the most admired companies in the world, in Silicon Valley and in many other places all around the world, and why they time and again bring me on board to help them accelerate in a dramatic way the transformative future they hope to create for themselves, for their company, and for their stakeholders. Thank you very much.